Welcome back to another episode of PSL on the Mic. We are in the studio today with our mayor, Mayor Shannon Martin.
Hey, Maureen.
Welcome back.
How's it going?
Pretty good. We wanted to change it up a little bit on this segment. We asked some of our residents to share some questions with us to ask you. We wanted to give them an opportunity to learn a little bit about our mayor. So we have a lot of really great questions here that we're really excited to hear your answers for. And we're going to have like a little rapid fire question at the end, which should be pretty fun. So let's get started.
All righty.
All right. So what valuable lessons have you learned as mayor about leadership?
So with regard to leadership, I'd say teamwork is something that is so important, especially for everything that we do here in Port St. Lucie. It takes a whole team in order to get things done, and being able to collaborate with everybody and come up with ideas that lead to decision making, and we help each other formulate these ideas and make great decisions. Teamwork is definitely something that's so important when it comes to being able to lead and work with others.
I agree. We have a saying in communications, which I'm sure everybody else uses too, but teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
And it really does.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What advice do you have for women who aspire to lead in government?
That's a great question, and I love it. And the reason why I love that question is because I had a mentor, and it was a former city councilwoman, Michelle Berger.
Okay.
And prior to being on council, I would watch council meetings, and I would watch the things that she said and how she led, and I was really impressed by her straightforward, realistic nature. And by listening to her, I really started to think, hey, I like what she has to say. She's real. I'm really similar in my straightforward approaches. And if she's doing it, then I can do it too. And so it's really about surrounding yourself with people who support you, especially other female leaders, and that pick you up when you're down and just can, envelop you and help you out. And so I would say absolutely, and don't be afraid to speak up. Have courage, and anyone can do it. You just have to believe in yourself.
Girl power all the way.
Absolutely.
I wholeheartedly agree with that 100%. Please, number 3, please share a story that left you feeling proud to be part of Port St. Lucie.
So one of the best moments that I've had in all my time being on the city council was one day, and it took a long time, it took about a year to get done, but it's when the city partnered with GL Homes and a Gold Star family in order to give them a home.
So wonderful.
So literally that was one of my most proudest days, because we were able to help a family who deserved it and needed it so much. And they lost their son in war. And I remember looking around that day and saying, wow, this is what it's all about. It's about helping others and everyone working together to do that. So that was really special for me.
That happened, I believe, right when I started here. And it just, like you, it made me so proud to say that I worked for the city. I mean, there's many things that I love about working for the city, but that was definitely a highlight for me as well.
Yeah.
Number 4, how do you balance the diverse needs of our city's residents in your decision-making process?
So I'm not going to lie, it's a challenge.
I bet it is.
250,000 people. We have people that have been here for many, many years. We have people that have been here for less than 10, less than 5. We have new people. And so everyone has different ideas about what a city should be or what services should be provided, because everyone has come from different places. We're a huge melting pot. So in balancing and those needs out, it's really about what we do on a regular basis, which is using data and feedback and speaking to people in order to really formulate what the needs truly are, and then transforming that into action and implementing or designing and creating plans and implementing those plans. But it is always a balance, because there is so many different needs in our community. And but using all that information and processing all that and working with everyone else to figure out what's best, that's the best way to do it. That's how I go about it, because there's challenges every day.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We're not just a community with young families.
Right.
I mean, it runs the gamut. We have, the elderly population who've been here forever, or even newer retirees who just moved here who don't really know that much about the community yet, down to, like I said, those families that have, new babies, new kids. So yeah, has to be the way to do it.
Yeah, we're not that bedroom community that
We
we
are
once
not.
were. We're very family oriented, and we have people that come from other big cities. We have people that come from small towns, and it's just trying to figure out how we do what's best in the best interest of the majority, and how we can balance out those needs.
And in recent years, we've had people even from different Florida cities come here.
Absolutely.
From Broward County, Miami.
Yeah.
I think we're on question number 5. How do you promote transparency and accountability in your administration?
So we pride ourselves here in Port St. Lucie on transparency and accountability. As I mentioned before, I am very straightforward. Some say that I'm blunt. Sometimes people say that I'm too blunt, and I'm also very passionate. And it's always about doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. It's always about making sure people have the opportunity for information. And why that is so important is because there's so much misinformation out there, as you well know. And so being transparent and open and giving all that factual and truthful information is important, because we want our citizens to be educated. We want to communicate with them as much as possible.
Right.
And it also, when people have that solid, truthful information, it helps stop the noise and of all the not so true information that's out there, or the fake information, or things that people just come up with in their heads for the sake of coming up with them. So
I know. As the social media manager, I see it on social media, and we have a policy where we answer questions within 2 to 3 business days at the most. Mm-hmm. And I usually try to get on that right away. I'm constantly emailing your office, department heads, to get questions quickly. And it's so important to be so open and transparent like that. You have to be.
You have to be. And even in my office, I will answer, or somebody in my office will answer within 24 to 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And even if it's just something like, okay, I received your email, I have to get more information and get back to you, you're going to get a response from my office, because that's what transparency is all about. And accountability as well. We're all accountable for different things, and all the different jobs that we have, all the different roles everybody else has, affects other people and it affects our public. So we all need to be accountable for what we do. And when accountability starts to fall, then it trickles down and becomes issues for others. And that's not how we want to operate here. We want everyone to be accountable. And people make mistakes, though.
Of
that's
course.
not to say it's a bad thing.
Right.
But it's a matter of fixing errors or fixing mistakes and moving forward.
And sometimes the answers that we do receive that we have to share with our residents might not be what they want to hear either.
That's true.
But we are acknowledging their questions, their comments. Like you said, right away, your team will get back with them. Hey, we've received your email, we've received your text or your phone call, and you get back with them as soon as you can.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to say, I know you may not like hearing this answer. Mm-hmm. This is not the answer you may want, but it's the truthful answer, and that's what you're going to get from me always.
Yep.
Whether or not anyone likes it, it's going to be honest and it's going to be the truth.
It's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. What strategies do you employ to attract and retain skilled professionals for these key city positions?
So this is an interesting question, because the way our form of government is, as the mayor with the city council form of government, the city council and I only employ 2 of our employees. That's our city manager and our city attorney.
Okay.
So we don't employ anyone else, and that's the role of the city manager, to hire everyone. But when I'm looking for a city manager or city attorney, I want someone that is good at managing people, that is a strong leader, that gets things done, is not just all talk, but you have to be action-oriented, extremely professional, have very high integrity. And also, when it comes to, what I do know, though, is that we want to hire, in the whole city organization, we want to hire the best of the best, because you get what you pay for. I'm a firm believer in you get what you pay for. And also training and opportunities to grow for our employees is something that's very important, because we don't want anyone to be staggered, because the best you get out of people is when you give them opportunities to grow, share ideas, and to really be truly a part of the team. And so we want everyone to be able to do that. So I highly value training, and I know, that's pretty much a city mantra.
I feel like we're always taking some sort of training,
Right.
which is important.
It is important.
So.
Some of it's not so fun, but
No.
like the IT.
Oh, let's go.
All the mandatory IT trainings.
But it's so important. It's so important. A few weeks ago, a card of mine was compromised, and I made sure that Stanley Fidge or Fidge, I'm still not quite sure if it's Fidge or Fidge, but I always have him in the back of my mind with all the training that we go through about,
right.
To check emails and make sure that you're not opening unwanted attachments. So we might not like doing it, but it's very important.
Absolutely.
I love this question. How do you see the role of the mayor evolving in the future, given ongoing social, economic, and technological changes?
It's always evolving. So it's going to continue to evolve, especially considering we're going to be growing even more and more. And so basically it's continuing to find ways to communicate, because my job is to represent the people and to communicate the information as much as possible. And honestly, that's a challenge. So being able to use some technologies, like the new technologies out with ChatGPT and AI, I'm just starting to learn about that stuff.
It scares me so much.
It's scary. It's mind-boggling to me right now. But I think those technologies definitely will help in the future. To be able to reach people, and but it's always changing and evolving, and it's going to continue to grow over time. And especially in my office, right now I have one full-time assistant, and then we have two, but one is dedicated to me. But I also share that person with two other people, and so I do see, as more communication needs to get out and more growth, that I'm going to need some more assistance with that in the future, because there's just so many people to reach, for
And
sure.
it's just going to there's going to be even more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So who are some leaders, either in government or business, who you try to model your own leadership style after?
So there's a whole mix, because I look at different, it's either do some podcasts or TED Talks, but the one that speaks to me is Brene Brown.
Okay.
And her leadership style, because she talks about compassion, using, compassion and courage and leadership. And you have to have compassion for people as a leader, and you have to be able to understand where people are at, and
understand their story, where they've come from.
And understand where they've come from, in order to really understand them and be able to forge relationships and work with them. So I really love her. Of all, I'd say she's the one that stands out to me the most. I like to read her books and
good choice.
Listen to her podcasts. So
Great.
yeah.
I always love these questions. If you could have dinner with any two people, living or not living, who would it be?
Okay. So it might sound strange, but I've got two that the two that come to mind the most, or came to mind first, is General Colin Powell.
Oh.
And Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, okay. I love her. You probably knew that I would get that. Yeah. Why would you pick those two?
And it's not about politics.
Okay.
For anyone who may be listening, it has nothing
yeah.
to do with politics. It has to do where they've come from and how they were pioneers in their own right to get to where they were and where they are.
Yep.
And I can't think of anyone better than Ruth Bader Ginsburg as an example for women. How she had to fight to be in law school, how she had to fight to have her voice heard, and in her entire life, and then being able to get on the United States Supreme Court and represent women. So she's definitely top choice for me. And then also General Colin Powell. He was also very real, also stood up for himself, first African-American, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I just loved his leadership style. And what did he have? I think he had that 40-70 rule about making decision-making and making sure you had to have at least 70% of information, and wouldn't make any decisions unless he had that amount of information. And so, in making any decision, information is key, right? So you want to always have as much as possible that you can from all sides in order to, and look at the big picture in order to make decisions. So I really loved that leadership style that he
I
had.
love those choices.
Yeah.
So good. What was your first job? And how did that experience shape your views on work, employment opportunities, and life?
So I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut, and my grandmother was a bookkeeper for a women's retail store, a small women's retail store on one of the main streets in Stamford.
Okay.
And it was called the Annette Shop. And her friend Betty ran it.
What's her name, Annette? Oh, okay.
Nope.
Her friend Betty ran it.
I think Betty's mother was named Annette.
Okay.
And that's why she named it after her. But it was they sold clothes, they sold women's robes and nightgowns and underclothes. But what was so inspiring about what they did there was back in the day when women had breast cancer and they had mastectomies. They didn't do them way back then like they
No.
do today with reconstructive surgery. And for lack of a better term, women didn't look very good. They were pretty, I hate to use the term butchered,
Yeah.
but that's what a lot of women look like when they had those surgeries done. And so this shop specialized in fitting women who had breast cancer and had mastectomies for bras.
Wow.
And putting in the inserts and putting in the padding, sewing it into the bras to make them feel good and make them look good. And so I loved that because that's what it was all about, was about helping women who had suffered greatly from breast cancer and walking out of there and making them feel good about themselves. So I learned a lot from that experience.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
a lovely story. And we'll jump into bigger things now.
Yeah.
Where do you see the city in 15 years? That would be what? 2040? I'm not good at math.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
2040, 15 years. Oh, I'm going to be old.
Is that true? Yeah, I think. I'm not good at math. 39. Oh, yeah, it's 2024. It's not 2025. Okay. Close.
We're close.
2039.
Close.
Okay.
So I would suspect, based on the way things are going, we'll be almost fully built out. If not built out, we'll be a city of over 400,000 people.
Wow.
At that time, based on what we know is still left from a development standpoint and the development rights that have been given. We're going to have a lot more infrastructure for sure, as our key goal is to make sure that we have great mobility around the city. And everything that we're working on now is to get to fulfill those goals of making sure that we have the infrastructure in place, which is something that we're always going to be working on. I think we possibly may have some expansion to the west, depending on how things go and whatever the needs are at the time for more economic development, maybe to add on to our jobs corridor. So we may even see a change in our form of government in 15 years.
Maybe we will, yeah.
We could go from city manager, city council to a strong mayor form of government in 15 years as we continue to grow, because a lot of the bigger cities do switch to those models. So there could be a lot of changes in the future. And
Speaking on that, this is totally random. I just thought of it. If we grow that big, could our city council increase?
yes,
In size.
I think it could increase in size, and that's something we'd have to look through, for our charter and have discussions about in the future, or our future councils will have to have
Right.
discussions about in the
Right.
future. And so, I think we're going to continue to grow as an organization, and we're going to need at that time probably to have more representation.
Yeah, I just see smaller cities that have bigger councils.
Yeah, it's really
It's
strange how
weird,
different it is.
yeah.
And I hope to see that city center is fully built out.
Yes.
Because that is also our vision, is to make sure that we're addressing the east side and the revitalization and redevelopment of the east side. So I hope that comes to fruition within the next 15 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is the biggest struggle about being our mayor that most people don't know about?
The biggest struggle is that everyone looks to the mayor's role to solve everything and be able to
What do you mean you
fix
can't do that?
everything. No. And one of the hardest parts about the job is that sometimes you have to tell people no. Sometimes you have to say that's above city, local government. And that's a challenge because a lot of people don't want to hear that. They
Right.
think you're passing the buck.
Yep.
But there are things that we can't do because either we can't or the state has told us that we can't. It's either a mandate or it's just what it is, a state law or federal law. And that's really challenging because, like I said, everyone looks to the mayor's role and the mayor to be able to fix everything, solve the problems. And unfortunately, there's times when I just can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say. I'm always honest about it, but people don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to hear the word no, or nobody likes to hear the word I can't. But sometimes that's what it is. And
Yeah.
it's hard.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
What is the biggest lesson or takeaway that you've learned since you've become our mayor?
Going back to the team effort, I can't do anything on my own, right? I need everyone. We have so many different departments. We have 19 different departments. We have our council. People might think I can do everything on my own, or I do everything on my own, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
It takes all of us working together in order to get things done, and I need that assistance and that help in order to accomplish things, all the things. And so that's the biggest takeaway. You come into, sometimes as an elected official, you come into a role, especially if you're brand new and you think, okay, I'm going to go and do X, Y, Z, A, B, C,
Or I'm going to do everything.
I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
And you can't.
No.
Even with being one person with all the help, you can't solve every problem. You can't fix everything, even with that help. So it goes back to that balancing and figuring out what that needs to be.
And a nice team.
And a great team.
Yep.
It's that the most important part is having a great team that you support and that can support you as well. It goes both ways. It's not one-sided.
Yes, ma'am. Why is your communications department so good at their jobs? Wait a second. Was this question thrown in?
This is thrown in, but I love it.
It's a joke, but you can answer it if you want to.
We have an amazing communications department, and you are part of that, Maureen. Avi and Gus and Sarah and Melissa and everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone is just amazing. And, I think back to years ago when we didn't have a great team. And one of the mandates from our council was we need a great communications team that can roll with the punches, that can handle everything. And you guys do an amazing job. We are very blessed in the city of Port St. Lucie. For all of our residents who don't know, we are very blessed to have such a great team.
Well, thank you.
That works so hard.
We all appreciate that so much.
Absolutely.
And we love what we do. And you're right. We have like Jacks and Jills of all trades in our department. Everybody can do a little bit of everything. We have experts in some areas. So it's really a fun place to work.
It is.
So when you're not, I know this answer.
Yeah.
When you're not busy being the mayor, what kinds of things do you like to do for fun?
My favorite thing to do is to go camping.
Yay.
Or glamping, RVing.
Okay,
'Cause
okay.
I say camping and people
Not like the tent,
People think
like-
tent. I've graduated from the tents, used to do tents for many years, but my husband and I like to RV. We like to go around the state and get away and on the weekends. And so that's my favorite thing to do. Get out in nature, hike, explore, go see different towns and learn about their history and their architecture and things like that. So
Primarily in Florida? Do you camp?
for the most part, we do,
Okay.
just because you know how long it takes to get out of the state, and traveling with a camper takes extra time.
It does.
So, and plus, we have kids in college still, and there's things to pay for. So probably when we retire, we'll
Maybe eventually.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do a lot more. Get a bigger camper, go around the country.
National parks, some state parks.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
But I love the state parks here in Florida. They're absolutely
I
beautiful.
know. We have so many. And I finally got around to getting the state park license plate because, and there's not very many out there.
Right.
So I have my season passes for the state parks. I love it.
Great.
We have great parks.
Awesome.
Is being the mayor as stressful as it seems?
Yes.
Okay. You could just answer yes if you want to.
No. So, if I'm being really real, and I just said this the other day at Coffee with the Council. So, being the mayor is like living in a pinball machine
Oh, that's a great analogy.
because there's so many things going on throughout the day, throughout the week, 24/7. And it's kind of like, okay, bing, 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 pinging off all these different things and avoiding holes and trying to, figure everything out. So that's how I really like to compare it, because there's so many things going on. There's so many responsibilities. There's so many projects and things you have to think about and working with other agencies. And so it's nonstop, and it is. There are days when it's very, very stressful. There are some days where it's like not, but for the most part, yes, it is. It's a huge responsibility.
Of course.
You have 250,000 people, and you have to do your very best and make sure that you're making the right decisions. You're making the best decisions you can with all the information that you have in front of you.
I'm going to add something to it.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
It is worth it. Yeah.
Good.
Because I love it. And if you don't love it, then you shouldn't be doing it. So, and I'm passionate about our city. So,
You are.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about living in Port St. Lucie?
We are safe, clean, and beautiful. And that is something that's really important to all of our citizens. But to me, we have a great community. We have a very caring community that
do.
steps up to the plate for each other when we need something or
Yep.
somebody needs something. And I really love that about our community. As big as we are, we still have that small hometown feel. And
Unbelievably, we do.
yeah, and
I love that.
Every year that goes by, as we grow, it's like, God, are we going to lose that? I hate to lose that. But and just when you think maybe we are losing it, something happens where you're shown back that, no,
Yep.
we're still that great community that cares about each other, that cares about the needs of our community and people. And so that's what's really important.
One thing that comes to mind when you just mentioned that, back in November, I think it was right before Thanksgiving, Nikki, a veteran's dog, got out of his yard.
Yes.
And I shared that post on social media, and I checked just a few days ago. It was and it was in November that I shared it. It was our biggest post of the year in regards to engagement and reach
Yes.
and shares. And wouldn't you know it, a couple weeks later, the dog was found and reunited with the owner, and it was because of our residents on social media.
Yep. Everyone was going out looking
Yep.
for the dog. They got Trapper Jay, I think,
They did.
involved.
They did.
And he was the one
He
that
trapped
actually
her.
got to trap the dog
Yep.
and bring it back to the veterans. So, yep, that's a perfect example of
Yep.
how our community works.
So you're right. It's like you think 250,000 people, 15 years from now, 400,000, but we still seem to have that small town feel,
Yep.
which
And
is great.
hopefully we keep that.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. So here is our last question before we get into these fun rapid fire questions. Is there a famous quote or saying that you regularly refer to for inspiration?
Yep, and I got to read it because I don't have it memorized. So
Okay.
I have lots of them.
Let's go.
But this one's about leadership, and it says, "A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others," by Douglas MacArthur. So that's one of my top faves.
That's
for
a
sure.
wonderful way to end this section.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks.
So now we're going to do something fun. I might try to incorporate this into podcasts now, just because I'm a nerd and I love to know little things about people. Avi is going to give us a 30-second countdown.
Okay.
We're going to hear a really annoying boat noise, I think,
Oh, boy.
when the 30 seconds is up.
Thanks, Avi.
I'm going to just shoot these questions off at you, and then you just answer them as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Are we ready? Okay. Favorite food?
Latin and Italian.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite band?
Pink.
Favorite song?
I don't know.
You can say pass. Favorite city?
Anything by Pink.
Okay.
Favorite city? Port St. Lucie.
Yay. Favorite place to camp?
Florida State Parks.
Favorite animal?
Cat.
Duh. Favorite movie?
Fried green tomatoes.
Oh. Favorite actor or actress?
Chris Hemsworth.
Thor?
Thor.
All right. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
We're done.
Oh,
We got to hear the noise.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice. Before we end, we just thought of this right before. Do you have a fun fact about yourself that we might not know?
Oh, God, I don't know. I like to line dance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That is definitely fun fact worthy. That's
Love country
awesome.
music, love to line dance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I
was
had a
great.
blast. It was super fun. there's a lot of stuff coming up in February and March, and it seems like it's still season, so things might slow down a little bit a couple months from now, but we always want people to visit cityofpsl.com. We have an events calendar full of everything that you would want to do here in Port St. Lucie. And we also want you guys to share some topic ideas with us at cityofpsl.com/podcast. And we will talk to other city departments. I think we're going to have somebody come on soon and talk about the mobility plan and traffic in town. We are also going to have some of our youth council members
That's great.
come. They're all going to Tallahassee next week.
Yep.
So that should be really interesting, and I can't wait to talk to them about their trip.
Yeah.
So everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yep. Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
It was fun.